Hello, this is Manish Patel from Ichimoku This video is going to be on the real-time scanner that we just released a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so when you log in, I'm assuming that everyone is on a 30-day free trial or have a monthly or a yearly subscription, because that's the only way you could access the real-time scanner. When you log in, the very first tab it takes you to the heat map. You click on over here to the real-time scanner and it'll take you over here. Okay, when you do that, it takes you into all these tab formats here, and I'm going to explain all these tabs in just a moment. But the quick thing here to note is it's 10, 30, 60 minute, 120, 240, daily, weekly, monthly, all relate to time frames. So those are the time frames that we support. Okay. The good thing is once you set up all the parameters for each individual time frame and everything, you could save things in profiles. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to come in the profiles. I have some standard profiles I've set up for myself, but very first thing I want to do is whenever we set a profile for the first time, I'm going to set reset and make sure everything's clear. Okay, and that way I don't start to mix things and I could cause errors. Okay, so that's the very first thing I like to do. Second, I'm going to go for each of these individual tabs and I'm going to go through and explain everything to you. So the very first thing I'm going to go through is the general tab. In here in the symbol, you could type in the exact symbol that you want. So like if you're looking for Apple, you could click that in here. If you're looking for Euro USD, you could click in there. If you're looking for anything as far as a symbol description is concerned with any characters like this Euro, what you do is you click on this and it'll find everything that has a symbol with Euro in there, or also a description if you notice that's in there too. Okay, so this is kind of like a wildcard symbol search where it searches the symbols and also searches the descriptions for whatever you're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to leave it blank for now. And notice every time I click on it, I have to click on update. So if I change anything, I need to make sure I click on update in order for that change to go through. Okay. Next option you're going to have is pricing. This is self-explanatory. What price levels am I looking for? Next is going to be average volume. This is 60-day average volume it's looking at here. Then the next one's going to be the current volume it's looking at. And then the last one I'm going to go through is instruments. So based on a subscription, you may see all these options or even partial. If you're in a currency subscription, the only thing you're going to see is currencies. If you're in US stocks in another country, you'll see various options here. The good thing is you have the ability to select multiple instrument classes. So let's say I have all the subscriptions out there and I want to scan the whole S&P 500. So I'm going to click on there, hold down my control key, and at that point I could sit there and click on multiple different instrument classes. So I've clicked on S&P, Dow 30, ETFs, and so forth, and you notice they're all clicked on highlighted. So by holding down the control key, I could click on any of these options here and it's going to automatically select them. Once I select them, of course I have to click on update in order for it to apply, and you can see all the pages down here and so forth. Okay, now notice this shows me a 10-minute view. Okay, the views we could select by selecting over here. So select here. Notice it doesn't show me anything right now, and the reason why is I have not turned on any time frame at all right now. When I turn on the time frames, it will allow me to choose something in there, but the default is always 10 minute. Okay, so let's go over here to the column. Over here you have the ability to sit there and change what these column views are. So you could add or subtract any options down here. If you're in options, you're going to have all these different options are available for you here for options. Okay, if you're dealing with earnings, you're going to have all these options here for earnings. IV is all right there as options. If you're dealing with strategies, all these strategies are available for you, which are future cloud extensions, all that stuff. So you could click on any of these and you could actually see the values down here in the view column. Okay, right now I'm going to keep to the default views, which give you the price, the direction, which tells you where price is in respect to the cloud, tells you the time frame, and tells you the strategy, which is a number 1 through 5 strategies that we support right now. Okay, so once you know that you've set up your columns, then what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of these options here. We're going to go for the options one last. The reason why is some people like options, some people don't, so I'm going to leave it towards the tail end of the video. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go for individual time frame and kind of show you all the options and what they mean. So I'm going to click on daily. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on. When you click on, a little pause comes on and restarts it, and the reason why is all the options turn on in that particular tab when you click that on. Okay. The very first thing you need to look at is direction. This tells you if this is above the cloud or below the cloud. So this is the sediment here. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose bullish here. And what it'll do is it'll narrow down the search here to all the bullish, everything that's above the cloud on a daily time frame for the instrument classes I chose a minute ago. Okay. This right here controls the future cloud, whether you want the future cloud to be bullish or bearish. This right here controls to be over. If you're a counter trend trader and you're looking for extreme conditions, oversold or overbought, you'll click over here. So over here it says this is extreme overextension, medium, and short term. These are proprietary formulas that we have in here, and if you go for the heat map video, it actually explains what each of those are. So if you're a counter trend trader, want to go counter trend, and you like looking for extreme over conditions in the higher time frames, you could set this up over here. Next is a strategy. Now these are the 5 strategy, the rating system I have online that we have for the heat map. The other Ichimoku strategies that are outlined in the ebook are under different drop downs in here. Okay, and so my strategies that I like are basically here. This is the Cajun cross strategy, which is number 1. Number 2 is the Cajun cross confirmed. That means it's ready for a pullback. Number 3 is the cloud breakout. Number 4, which is the one that we use internally for our internal trading, is the cloud breakout strategy confirm, and high probability is basically number 5, which is the trending already. If you don't know what these are, then you could go into any of the heat map tutorials in the heat map over here, and explains what 1 through 5 are and so forth there. Okay, so I'm going to choose cloud breakout confirm, click on update, and it's going to show me these values here. Okay, now over here you can have some scenarios where you have this strategy, it was bullish and above the cloud, but then what happens is it goes bearish. So in here we allow you to actually choose which way you want the strategy. So in here you could say I want a bullish cloud breakout strategy and price, and by making sure that this direction's on, price is still above the cloud. Because you can have a cloud breakout bullish strategy where price all of a sudden is in the cloud. Believe it or not, it can exist. Okay, so this right here, sediment right here, controls this strategy, whether you want bullish or bearish. This right here controls to determine if price is currently above the cloud or below the cloud. It gets confusing, but if you're confused, just select both of them to be bullish or both of them to be bearish, and as simple as that. Okay, and I click on update, and it'll basically filter out everything for me here. Okay, and you can see right now in the US stock market, there's not much right now that's bullish and bearish as far as the strategy 5 is concerned. Okay, if you're a counter trend trader, here's some options here where you could turn on counter trend. So this looks for price to be in counter trend mode, so this just turns it on. This looks for exactly at the counter trend level, and this means basically what happened was it's counter trend and holding. So if it was bullish, it's still holding. Even though it hit the counter trend level, it's still holding. If it's bearish, it hit the counter trend level and still bearish. So this right here is holding, which is high probability compared to this, which basically looks at this to be inner bar. Okay, this, if you're into Cajun cross strategy, this is where you could turn it on or off, where you're looking for bullish or bearish. And this looks for exactly when it turned bullish or bearish. We are looking at a forecasting module where in future releases this will tell you this will be bullish or bearish in a couple of bars. Okay, span cross, this is looking at the future cloud. If you look at the ebook, there is a span cross strategy where it looks for the future clouds to flip. This looks for a bullish flip over, this looks for a bearish flip over. Over here, this looks for the Chicago cross, so this where Chicago was touching price 26 bars in the past, and now all of a sudden it went bullish. So this changed from neutral to bullish over here, neutral to bearish over here, or if you're just looking for bullish or bearish, you select on all. Okay, and then So that goes for those there. Now this is where price is at Ichimoku support resistance levels. Okay, and if you ever heard me speak about time frame matching, this is where this gets involved. So in here you have an option to turn it off, or you want price to be at the green line, which is the Kijun-sen. Okay, now this forecast option here is something in the future. So what the forecast does is it looks for a time frame match, but price is not there. This looks for a time frame match, but price is at that green line. So this is forecasting where price is approaching it. This is where price is currently at. Okay, so if you're looking for a time frame match, I'll go through that in just a moment and explain how that works. Okay, right now I'm going to keep it off. This is looking for a price to be at the red line. To turn it off, if you want it right at the red line right now, you put it there. If you're looking for a time frame match in the future, you put that TS touch to forecast being on. Same thing for the yellow line, which is 52 bar support resistance. If you want price to be at that yellow line, you look for it here. If you're trying to do a time frame match where price is not there yet, but it's a time frame match, you click on the forecast option here, and you go from there, and then you click on update. Okay. The strength, this is a proprietary indicator. If you're doing a cloud breakout strategy and you want to increase your probability of success, select the strength on whichever way you want to do it. So if you look at all these options in here and I stick on strength to be bullish, this should sit there and narrow down that list. So these are more high probability compared to the other one, which is based on the proprietary indicator that we have here. Okay, so you have the ability to select any of these options in here on and off for any time frame. Okay, now I've gone through pretty much everything in the scanner, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some basic profiles to kind of help you guys along. So again, I'm going to go back to the profiles, I'm going to reset my parameters, I'm going to click OK. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up some basic profiles to kind of show you things that are bullish. So number one thing I always tell people is that you should be trading in the direction of the higher time frame. The basic knowledge of Ichimoku is where price is above the cloud is bullish, price is below the cloud is bearish. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to find all the bullish opportunities in the world. So very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the monthly time frame. I'm going to select to be on right here. Okay, and I'm going to look the direction to be bullish. So I want everything on the monthly time frame to be bullish. Then I'm going to go to the weekly time frame and I'm going to select that to be on, and at that point I want also everything in there to be bullish. Okay, notice I have not selected just US stocks. I allow this to pretty much keep everything in the world on for me. So this is scanning all the instruments in the world for me. Now I want the daily time frame to be on, and I want it to also be bullish. Now I'm going to go into the swing trading time frames like a 240. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to look for it to be bullish too. Notice there's 20 pages right now. When I click on this to be on, look what happens. It gets it down to 15. And now what I'm going to do is I want the day trading time frame also to be on too, to make sure that it's bullish too. So when I click on that, this is going to narrow this list down drastically, and notice there's only 3 pages of information. So these are the instruments that where price is above the 30-minute cloud, the 240, the daily, weekly, monthly. So everything is really bullish in here. Okay, now notice the strategies are 5 here. If I want to come in here and turn this guy on and say I want to find everything that's a bullish strategy, just came out of the cloud right now and is bullish, I click on that to be on, and I only find these instruments here. Okay, now you see a duplicate here. This is not really a duplicate. Remember, we support S&P 500, we support NASDAQ, we support Dow 30s, and so forth. So some instruments are in different instrument classes, and this is why they appear twice. We're working on getting rid of that duplication, which should happen in about a week or 2 weeks. Okay, but either way, this right here are your strategies right there. Okay, and notice now I'm looking for a 240-minute that's a 4, a bullish, but yet this says 5. And the reason why is this is set to view the monthly time frame. So here, if I come over here to the general tab here, I click over here, notice all the time frames I selected on to be on. I click on 240 and it'll show me the strategy number there. If I want to see what the 30 minutes are, because I know the 240s are all 4s and they cloud breakout and ready for a pullback, I have here. So I could sit there and come up to a 30 minute over here and say I want it to also have a cloud breakout confirm and to be bullish. And when I do that, it's only going to pop up with one instrument, which is dollar tree here. Okay. Now, once you've set this up, you come in here into your profiles and save them. So what you could do over here, oh, sorry, this has changed a little. So notice up here, you could actually do that anywhere you want. The default is, the profile load is default. So if I want to create a new profile, all I do is create new profile and say this is what? I could say this is a 30/240/daily/weekly/monthly 240 cloud strategy. I click OK. It'll save that profile, and now what happens is my profile now is loaded there. And if you notice, if I come to my profile section, so if I was here and come over here, it's listed here. Now the great thing that we have going on here is if you actually click on email settings here, you could actually select when you want that email report to run automatically for you and to send you an email. So let's say I want to see it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm going to click on Tuesday, hold down my control key, click on Thursday, and then you could choose, and notice this says 24-hour time, Eastern Standard Time is what this is. So I want to choose it to be, I want the report to come to me at 9 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, and at 1400. So when I click on those, it automatically saves. And now what happens every Tuesday and Thursday, Eastern Standard Time at 9 a.m., at noon, 12 p.m., and at 2 o'clock p.m., it will automatically send me an email result by running this query here, and it'll send me all the results automatically. Okay, that's what that does right there. So this is a great strategy to find everything that's bullish, and then you're looking for strategies where you're trading in the higher time frames. Okay, let's go for another strategy where you're looking for time frame matching. So I'm going to reset the filters here. Okay, and when I reset them, notice this is default is here. So in their default, what I'm going to do is I want to look for a time frame match between the daily and weekly. So I'm going to come over here to the daily. I'm going to turn it on, and I want to look for everything at the green line on which price is right now at the green line on the daily. I'm going to click on that on. Okay, then I'm going to go to the weekly, and I'm going to click on that to be on. And I want to make sure that the green line on the daily, which is the Cajun Sin, matches the red line on the weekly. So I'm going to turn this to be on. So if you look at that, this is a time frame match between the daily and the weekly, where basically price is right now on the red line, the Cajun Sin, on the weekly, which is also equal to the green line, which is the Cajun Sin, on the daily. And when I do that, these are all time frame matches here. Okay. And if I want to narrow this down and say I only want the bullish ones, hey, give me the bullish on the daily and give me the bullish on the weekly. And out of the whole worldwide, look at that. I only have 2 instruments that are showing me that. And if you look at the strategies on the daily, it's a 1 and 3. You guys see that? That's pretty cool. So now let's say let's take this off for right now. Remember, I have to click on update every time I flip to a different tab. Okay, I'm going to click over here, click on update. Okay, now let's say I want a time frame match also to the 240. So on the 240 over here, I could say I want it to match the yellow line on the 240. Click over here, that's what it does. It just narrowed it down where this is a time frame match on the 240, daily, and weekly. So you could do any combinations of different Ichimoku lines with each other from among different time frames, from long-term views, which are daily, monthly, weekly, to swing trading, which are 60, 120, 240, and day trading, which are 10s and 30s. Okay, that's what this does. Now this right here tells you the time frame matching there. Okay, this is looking for a price right at those levels. Now, if you want to do forecasting where price is not at these multiple time frame levels, but could get there where you could put a pullback order, that's when you turn the forecasting on. So this is you'll turn this to be forecasting the SKB right now. Okay, daily over here, you change this to be forecasting, and then on the weekly, you change this to be forecasting, and this one there is down to this. Okay, so this right here would look at where the red line price is not there yet, but the red line on the weekly is, which is the Tinkinson, matches the green line, which is the Cajunson on the daily, which also matches the yellow line, which is the SKB on the 240, but price is not there yet. So it gives you time to sit there, put a pullback order on there, or it gives you time to sit there and watch what's going to happen. So this is time frame matching. Once you set that up, again, you come into profiles, or you could actually do it for wherever you want now. Say create profiles, save it, and you're ready to go. Okay. If you're an options trader, this is the last tab we haven't gone through. Click over here. This gives you the ability to scan for volatility, where you can look for things that average, or cheap, which is low, or high, which is expensive. Now, a lot of people get confused with the nomenclature here. So this right here, low, greater than 1%. What this means is that volatility is low because it's below the average. It's looking for everything that's 1% or less than the average. Okay. If you look on this, this is looking for 8% below the average. That means it's looking for extreme low conditions. So 8% or lower below the average. Over here, these are high. So this is looking for 5% above the average for everything that's 5% or higher above the average. And this is looking for 10% or higher above the average for volatility. This option here, unusual put and call volumes, they have the same thing. You could look for 10 times yesterday's volume or greater, 20 times, 30, 40, 50 times, or instead of looking at yesterday's volume, you could look at the average over 30 days and say I want it 10 times more than the average of yesterday's volume, and so forth. Okay, and you have the unusual call volume, the same thing. Days to earning is not available yet. It will be in a couple of weeks. Okay, notice down here, this is available for end of day right now. In about 1 to 2 weeks, it'll be real time, but right now it's end of day right now. Okay, so again, you can set up all your options here, turn on the volatility. Then if you want to see what the IV and everything is, you could click on these options here. So I could say I want to see IV over here. I want to see the put volume. I click on update. It'll show me the IV and put volume for the things that are available out there. Okay, so that's it pretty much for the scanner. Again, you guys can set up a free 30-minute session by emailing us at info@eiicapital.com, which will go for the scanner based on your requirements. It'll also go for the email alerts and every other option that we have available on the website. Okay. Also, we are planning on a lot of new features coming up for the scanner. Some of the things will be a fundamental module, along with some other improvements, especially a watch list. I know a lot of people have been requesting a watch list instead of you be selecting in here all these, S&P 500, Dow 30, and so forth, expressing for us to create a watch list. So we are looking at doing that too. So there's a lot of enhancements that are going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. So keep a lookout for it. Also, if you have any enhancements that you would like to see, please email us at info@eiicapital.com too. Thank you and have a good day.